your number one hype gal here, and welcome to the weekly warm-up, your weekly dose to feel a little more confident and a lot more human. I'm Jess McDowell, and each week I'll share life updates, mindset shifts, product faves, the little things that help me stay grounded, energized, and moving and grooving. Whether you're heading out for a jog, sipping your morning coffee, or just need a midweek pick-me-up, this is your warm-up for living a real balanced life. So take a breath, shake it out, and let's dive in. Welcome back to the weekly warm-up. I'm your host, Jess. And today we have a really, I'm like about to laugh because I'm just staring at the face. We have a really awesome guest, and I'm super pumped about this person because she has basically taken over Miami when it comes to fitness and community events. So let's give a big round of applause to Emily. Welcome to the weekly warm-up.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm glad that you're able to take time out of your busy schedule. Damn.
I know, truly. At least it's like an early hour, right? Like I really don't commit to anything past 7 p.m. these days,
Oh
but
yeah, no, I could never. I'm brain dead already. So there's no way 7 p.m. would ever be a possibility.
no way.
Well, let's dive in. We always like to do the basic, first date questions of where you're from. I mean, I know we're going to talk about that a little bit, that you grew up in Chicago and now you're in Miami. Why did you choose Miami? How has that impacted your personal life, your fitness philosophy?
Moving from Chicago to my aunt to Miami was honestly a full like identity shift for me.
Yeah.
I had no real intentions of pursuing fitness full time. The move honestly kind of forced me to step into who I actually am instead of who I thought I was. In Chicago, I worked for Nordstrom for 5.5 years. I was the director of a e-commerce company. So like I really wore the managerial hat for most of my life. But I got to a point where I was ready for change and I was ready for failure. So I kind of just always knew that the constant in Miami was the weather and the sunshine. And at a time in my life where it felt very dark and cloudy, just really no light at the end of the tunnel, kind of, I just took that leap of faith and I was
Yeah.
like, I'm not going to re-sign my lease. My job and I actually parted ways, and my relationship and I also parted ways. So, although it felt like a midlife crisis, it also kind of felt like an opportunity to completely start over and fail along the way. So, the one thing that I could guarantee was the weather down in Miami. I grew up going to Disney World with my parents and obviously visited Miami during my party era. We all
Yeah.
went through it, let's be honest. Um,
Yes.
but I never revisited that life after coming to Miami and doing an Airbnb for a couple months just to dip my toes into the water and see what I could kind of make happen.
Yeah. I love that you said that you were not planning to fail, but that you were coming here to fail in the sense of rebuilding your life. You know what I mean? And that you're not afraid of failure, because a lot of people will not allow themselves to do something like that because of failure or fear of failure. We all are. We're human. That's normal with any type of project or career change or anything. But that you also talked about gloomy to sunshine with Chicago. Obviously, Chicago has actual seasons. So if you are going through something and it is cold there, your body just completely shuts down in general. So it's like you had to lose everything to rebuild and like have this beautiful palm tree grow from from underneath you. I love that so much.
Exactly. I mean, it's truly like one of my mantras now in any class or any conversation that I have where people are, saying that they want to move to Miami or that they just moved here and they're, trying to figure it out. I'm like, you can do it, like
Yeah.
truly, I would not be sitting here on this podcast with you today if I was scared of what could happen.
Yeah. No, of course not. And that's amazing. Like, but that's the thing about so you coming down to Miami, is that what drew you to fitness, or where was that light bulb moment when you realized that this is your path and this is truly what you were actually put on this earth to do?
It was still a pretty dark time, honestly, in my life, even though I was living in an Airbnb. I didn't really know what my next step was, what was going to be. But the one thing I knew I could do was put one foot in front of the other and move my body. So in Chicago, just like in Boston or New York, there was core powers on every corner. But the one here in Brickell actually had just opened when I came down here. So I knew that variable from like my past life. I hadn't even dabbled into other fitness studios or anything like that, but I would just wake up every single day and I would go move my body. I would walk probably 30,000 steps instead of my 20,000 that I do now, but I just kept going every single day. And there was an instructor that had said, have you ever thought about teaching? And I was like, what?
No.
No. I was like, I'm applying for jobs, like
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna go back to corporate America. No, I'm not gonna teach. I
Yeah.
love fitness, but and then they're like, well, you don't have to teach if you do the training. And I was like, not a bad idea. And then I just never heard back from any of the thousands of jobs I was applying to.
Hmm.
And I kind of felt like that was a sign from the universe saying, like, just do it.
Hmm.
And I'm a huge person on signs and philosophy. So I feel like my entire journey into fitness was led by like not only like my angels, but also just signs from the universe. So I ended up doing the training, never applied or never got a full time job, obviously, in corporate America. Did the training, and I was like, right, that was really challenging physically, mentally, emotionally, but I still don't think that I want to teach. And so then I actually ended up auditioning. I got a slot on the schedule. Again, I'm still thinking I'm going back to the corporate world. It's not happening. So I was teaching a lot of classes there, but my very first class, there was a client in my class, and he was actually best friends with the owner of Studio 3. And he was the one that actually told me Studio 3 was coming to Miami. And I knew Studio 3 from back home. And he was
Wow.
like, you have something very special. And from my very first class, which I prayed no one showed up to, he kind of believed in me and saw this bigger picture. So slowly but surely, I started to believe in myself. And obviously, progress over perfection.
Hmm.
That was one of my very first intentions that I taught in yoga was being imperfect.
Hmm.
So I obviously allowed myself to fail and work out the kinks, and then one thing led to the next, and obviously I started to quickly build my community and
That's
obviously all the
crazy.
places that I teach.
That's just so wild to me that it was such a full circle moment because of the fact of Studio 3. Did they start in Chicago?
Yep.
So yeah, that it started there, and then it literally you came all the way to Miami, no intention of doing anything related to this, and then it was like this person that led you to this person to led you to Studio 3, and now I mean you're like one of my favorite classes that I like to go to there. You know what I mean? And you're a powerhouse there. Weren't you the founding trainer
Yeah.
there?
Yeah. Me and Amy and Frankie,
Love it.
all from day one.
Yeah, and all I love both of them too. I mean, we miss Amy, but Frankie, I love his classes too. That's insane.
He's
I love that.
incredible.
Since moving to Miami, then 23, becoming part of the fitness community, how have your goals changed compared to when starting?
I feel like I'm always chasing more now. Not that it's like unrealistic goals, right? My first goal was to eventually like step out of my managerial role at Solid Core and be fitness full time. And that was another kind of leap of faith and potential to fail as well.
Mhm.
Like how could I sustain the lifestyle that I want? Stepping out of a salary role
Yeah,
and relying solely on fitness and solely on everything that I built to show up in order to be able to survive. But I think my goals, even like before I moved to Miami, right? I was so kind of like fixated on a relationship and like that chapter of my life. And now
we
I
all
feel
we
like
all do that.
that's kind of not in the photo anymore. I'm
Yeah,
so focused on building more and allowing more people to experience what I built.
yeah.
It wasn't until like truly a couple months ago that I joined TikTok, and I'm not good at TikToks. Let's just start there.
I love TikTok.
I'm so bad at it, but there was this need and like constant chatter that I was getting tagged in of people describing how they felt in my classes or clients
Aw.
saying have you taken Emily's class because it was a TikTok about a certain experience they had, whether it was here in Miami or not here
Hmm.
in Miami, about how they didn't feel welcome in a class or didn't feel welcome at an event. And I feel like there's so many lives that I've not even had the privilege to touch yet. And, obviously Core Power is where I started. That's
Hmm.
constantly going to be full, especially because I'm only there 2 times a week, but allowing more first timers to get in there and really experience
Yeah.
what I have built, but to continue to build.
But what's really I think the thing is, and obviously me being in fitness, so I can understand, but what a misconception is when you're teaching a class too, like this is your career, this is your job. So there is a certain, it's not that you have a different characteristic or you're Emily in real life and Emily when you're teaching, but you are just like anybody else. Like when I go to work, I am, business mode. And then that's exactly what you're doing. So it's, sometimes people don't understand that when you're in business mode with things, you're having to, maintain the fact that class starts in this time. We need to get started. We need to do this. We need to do that. Like people that these days are so insane and so rude on their phones or doing this or coming in late. And it's like you're having to be hyper focused on so many things. And then also show a little bit about your personality, but at the same time, you're focused on, your classes are badass. So like you're focused on making sure that they come out perfectly and everyone gets equally, the workout that you want them to get. So it is hard to be able to connect with everybody, but it's not because you're cold. It's not because you aren't nice or you're not trying to. It's just you're in business mode, and if anyone walked up to you and said hi, you would say hi. Like that's what I do. I don't expect you to walk up to me after a class. I purposely go up to you and say hi because you're literally moving 20 different ways. And you're also thinking about the class that you're about to teach right after. I think it's just people not understanding that because they think that fitness, like they're very selfish because they're going in for themselves. You know what I mean? But this is your job and your career.
Exactly. But I also think too, and one of the things that I shared even on Thanksgiving is you have no idea what the people around you are going through, and they potentially are leaning on you
Mm-hmm.
today to get through, whether it's the next rep, the next 30 minutes, this
Mm-hmm.
class, or even just the day in general.
Yeah.
So just to like be kind to everybody. I think promoting positivity also comes from being a leader myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to let anybody walk into any of my classes with a bad attitude, right? We all
Mm-hmm.
have bad days, but we're all going to commit to leaving here better than we walked in.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's bad energy, bad vibes, keep that outside the door. Honestly, don't come in. We can
Yeah.
rebook you, we can reschedule you, but
Yeah. Like you're coming in to
don't ruin
fight.
it for everybody else. Cause
Yeah.
for some people, right? We're very blessed. I'm very blessed that I can take multiple classes a day, even outside of the classes that I teach. But for
Mm-hmm.
some people, 60 minutes, 45 minutes, that's all that they have.
Yeah.
So, how are we going to let somebody take that away from them?
No,
So, I
absolutely.
always feel like that's my job at the end of the day as well.
Yeah. And I mean, social anxiety, especially, as, we've come out of COVID and with social media, it's real. And so showing up to a group fitness class, especially one that is full often, or for Studio 3, I mean, there's regulars. So there's this established core of people and everyone knows each other. And then going into a heated class and also a difficult heated class, that is all like intimidation. I mean, for anybody that is just trying to, get their bearings and want to get into fitness or even just like having a horrible day, going through all those steps is huge. So yeah, it's unfortunate then when they go in and then maybe somebody affects them and they don't have a good experience and then that's what they leave because it's that trauma factor.
Right.
On your socials, because we love it, but you've mentioned wanting people to become the best and strongest versions of themselves. What does strongest self mean to you physically, mentally, and emotionally?
I think physically being able to trust your body, feeling
Mhm.
capable, moving because you want to, not because you need to. Mentally being resilient, knowing you can walk into any room, any season, any area of your life and handle whatever comes your way in any
Mhm.
capacity. And then emotionally having boundaries, choosing peace allowing yourself to outgrow anything that doesn't serve you anymore. I think especially living in Miami, my core has always pretty much stayed the same, but people walk in and out all the time just because everyone goes through, especially coming around the new year, new me. But I think that's something that we live by every single day. And of course,
Mhm.
I'm here to support everyone during every season, every chapter of their life. But I think the hardest part that I've witnessed from people in Miami is being okay with being alone, right? I
Yeah.
love my alone time, but a lot of people do really struggle with that. So when
Mhm.
you struggle with that, then you revert to going out and stuff like that. And then it becomes a vicious cycle.
Mhm.
Obviously, it has a lot to do with whatever you do for work as well.
Mhm.
But I think we're so lucky here in Miami to have a lifestyle that you could literally live just through fitness, not only through
Easily.
classes, through events, meetups. There's so many things that you can live a completely healthy life and
Mhm.
not be alone or feel alone. And
No,
it you
truly.
should never feel that way, especially because you feel fulfilled. And I
Yeah.
think that's for me, this is probably going into another question, right? Like what do I do for fun? I mean, I recharge my battery. I'm so fulfilled at the end of the day that I don't need to like look to something else in
Yeah,
order to fill my
absolutely.
cup.
One thing I always love is because there's been times where I've come into classes where I literally am just trying to breathe. Like I'm just trying to make it through the day. I'm just trying to breathe. And I love it when we're starting off class and you're like, take a breath, like let me know you're alive. And obviously, like, some people will say it or whatever. But to me, that is truly just like, okay, like I'm here, I'm grounding myself, I'm ready to focus, I'm ready to crush this workout. Mentally, you're just hiding back tears and you're hiding back even being able to breathe. So I think it's just so coded for you how you really do bring in that mental aspect, but also you want every single person in there to realize that everybody's struggling with something and this is a safe space.
And for a very long time, even especially when I first started, I was not open. I was not vulnerable like I am now. Again, because I thought I'll just do this on the side, I'm gonna put my managerial cap back on. But there was things in life that I could just no longer hide.
Mm-hmm.
So showing up was really challenging.
Mm-hmm.
And sure, it would have been easier to just not teach and not show up or call out. But that's never been in my nature, never been in my blood. I think I
Mm-hmm.
only missed like one day of work in my entire life because I was
Wow.
just so fearful of letting anyone down.
Mm-hmm.
But when I really started to peel back my own layers, I noticed that my community and everyone's vulnerability changed
Mm-hmm.
from the outside. I probably look a little bit unapproachable sometimes, which I get. Now that you know me, no. But if
No,
you saw
because
a
you're just
platinum
strong, you're
blonde walking
confident.
down
Yeah, you hold yourself
down
to
the
a certain
street,
standard, you know what I mean, and
yeah,
that's okay though.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I also feel like I wore as armor.
Yeah,
So I was
absolutely.
protecting myself from what could or could not happen.
Hmm.
And the second that I started just sharing what was going on in my life, because I literally had no other choice,
Hmm.
then one person after the next, after the next, after the next was like, I've been taking your classes because I'm going through the same thing,
Yeah.
or this has happened to me. And as soon as I got that validation of like, they want to know and to see the raw me,
Hmm.
then I feel like I completely shifted my approach to teaching and to really life in general. And
Yeah.
obviously, there's some things that I'm more vulnerable about than others. But
Hmm.
even in one-on-one conversations, I'm an open book, right? If
Hmm.
someone's telling me something that they think that I haven't gone through, I probably have gone through it, but I'm not going to tell the masses
Hmm.
about it. But I
But you can give
definitely,
advice because they just want someone to listen, you know what I mean? And they
yeah,
connected with you on a level from your classes and what you say and what you do. And so it's almost like they want a word vomit. They're not expecting you to like give your story, not that it doesn't matter, but they just want to be heard and for you to be like, yeah, I register that. I see you, I hear you. I agree with that so much. Do you remember when that switch flipped, fitness full time? I'm in this no matter what. Yes, it's a taxing job. Yes, sometimes it's not always equal pay. You know, there's not always benefits and things involved, which a lot of people don't understand that when also they're expecting so much out of, you know, fitness instructors, especially top fitness instructors. But do you know when that switched and what that moment was like for you?
There was like two switches.
Okay.
So the first switch, I watched somebody that was in teacher training with me teach their first class and they crushed it. Obviously, I was there to support because I was kind of along for the journey. And I was like, okay, I think I can do this. If they can do it, I can do it.
Mhm.
And then the second switch, larger scale, was I was in this period of, do I step down from being studio manager or do I continue to try and balance it all? And for the most part, people had no idea that I was running a studio by myself while I was teaching at Studio 3 and Core Power as well. But there was a DM that I got from Stay Fit 305. And this was right in between the do I stay, do I go? And they sent me a message like, hey, Emily, hope all is well. We're reaching out because we've had a plethora of people refer you to us, and we're going to be hosting a sunrise yoga, and we would love to have you. And I was like, okay, this was the sign that I needed in that very moment to know it's time. You
Yeah.
know, it's time to take that leap of faith. And then shortly after that, I did give my notice and I left I stepped down completely on great terms and I'm still there, just in a completely different capacity. I did think for a very long time that, you know, life would slow down a little bit and it slowed down in different ways. That was really the switch because
Yeah.
I remember the moment vividly. I was sitting in the back office and I'm like, do I stay? Do I go? Do I stay? Do I go? Of course, it's comfortable to stay because it's a consistent paycheck. I have benefits. I have a consistent, for the most part, schedule. But can I really continue to juggle everything at once with opportunities like Stay Fit coming
Mhm.
into my life? And obviously, Stay Fit 305, Sunrise Yoga didn't just stop at Sunrise Yoga. You know, we went on to do Summer Sweat, in which I taught in front of 550 people for the very first time in my life, you know? So that was the point where I was like, this is going to be forever.
Community events, teaching, it's completely different, obviously. Community events are one off. Typically, you partner with the studio that you work with, or you're partnering with people separately and you're just under your name, obviously, which is totally fine. Break down how you're able to manage both of those because I swear you are doing a community event every day. People that are not familiar with her, which is very rare in the community of the people that are going to be watching this, or listening, or mainly listening, but you are doing massive events, but like cool as shit events. You're doing state like Miami Dolphins, you're teaching a class and then you're going onto the field and watching games on a Monday night. You're about to blow up Art Basel with a ton of stuff. I just saw a post. I don't know if you're teaching on a yacht or not. I don't know if that's what it is, or you're doing something with the yacht. Break all this down.
Yeah. So I feel like every time I step outside the house, I'm always having a conversation, and it's never,
Yeah, you know
of
how to
course,
network, babe. I love it.
and I don't even mean to, right? We were on like prime example, my birthday. I did a boat for my girlfriends and then some of
It was so
their,
cute. I loved it. You were having the time of your life.
yes, that was like the one time that I let loose a year
You're
after I
allowed
taught
to.
like 900 million classes.
Yeah.
But we I got really close with the owner of the chartering company, and we always talked about like doing an event together. And then one of my girlfriends, Shannon, her husband was on the boat with us, and he just launched Santoli Napoli, which is a Italian linen company.
Cool.
And so then he was like, I want to do something for Art Basel. So then that was their opportunity to connect. So made the introduction with them. And then I got pulled into it. Let's do health and wellness meets Art Basel with the launch of Santoli Napoli for Art Basel as well. So just like prime example, I live, eat, breathe fitness all the time. No conversation really is without something
Yeah.
in the works coming out of it.
I know every time I talk to you, you're like, I need to text you about this, about that. All right.
I know, I know. It's crazy because there's just always something coming up.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes it exciting. Yes, it definitely gets overwhelming. And some of the best advice that I've gotten from some of my own mentors is it's okay to say no.
Mm,
So my
boundaries.
intention for I always create a new intention for the month, but my intention this month was November because no is a full sentence. And in the beginning, right, when I was first starting, yes, you do things for free all the time, right? Because you're just trying to get exposure, trying to get your name
Mhm.
out there, you're trying to build.
Your time
But
is money.
I'm also now realizing that I'm no longer new
Mm-mm.
to any of this, and I don't have to say yes to every single thing, which, in some ways breaks my heart as well. But I also want everybody to win in some shape or form and feel
It's business
supported.
at the end of the day. And if it's
I
not working
know.
for you, it's not working for you. And that's not being mean, but it's like, hey, like I would love to revisit this in the future. It's not no, yes, no right now, or unless it's something where it's like absolutely no, like you're never going to because you're trying to take advantage. But in general, too, it's like no, not right now. But then they realize, okay, maybe we need to come back and reconfigure and have a better offer or have better, at least some sort of perks, if anything, and that's just also to Miami, but the business in general, fitness and with wellness events and community events, you know what I mean? Because you don't even know are the guests paying, are the guests not paying? What are other brands and vendors are involved? So it's just, you're allowed to know your worth for sure.
Yeah. And even like for a little bit in Chicago, I did event planning and I love the event planning side. But even on some of the events, right, where I tried to be a part of the planning process, I learned from Andrew at Stay Fit 305. He's like, "You're the talent. That's its own hat.
Yeah.
Like let
Mhm.
it go. That's somebody's job, Emily, but I always want to kind of have my hands in every cookie jar, and I've had to learn to let that go a little bit and just be the talent, right? Because people want me to be a part of things for a specific reason. And I know I bring not only great energy, but I bring community and I'm just like real about it. But
Mhm.
also, this is my life. But I also can say no to things and be picky about where I spend my time. So,
Yeah, but that's also called growth and moving up in your career. I love the idea of being the talent. Now, if there are additional incentives or compensation for helping and planning, or if you're passionate about something that you want involved, that's totally fine. But at the end of the day, I love that line. You're the talent. Amen. Retweet. That's it.
I know. It's like it's really truly like rewiring my brain because for
Yeah.
my entire life I wore the managerial hat and I want to like
Yeah.
micromanage little parts or like be involved. But then, the second you involve yourself a little bit, then it's over
Yeah.
with. Then you're involved.
I mean, to me, I consider you extroverted introvert in a sense because we're constantly interacting with people all the time. So that's what's keeping our social bubble feeling good, at the end of the day. And
Yeah.
so when you take time for yourself, it's not because you're trying to, you have social anxiety or you're hibernating or you're suppressing things. It's like, no, like I'm constantly around people all the time. I'm constantly talking to people. Were you always extroverted, introverted, or did that come with kind of the territory of where you moved into?
Definitely the territory that I moved into because before I moved to Miami, I worked remote during COVID times,
Yeah.
throwback, right? I wasn't interacting with humans during the day.
Hmm.
But then that's also where I spent my evenings and all my weekends going out with all my friends. And it was the same thing, rinse and repeat every week because I didn't
Hmm.
interact with anybody all day long. And fitness wasn't like my life per se. But before that, working in person, I feel like that was closer to the life that I live now because I did interact with humans
Hmm.
all day long. So I was fulfilled for the most part and then recharging at night. But I mean, now is a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
Um, because there's even days, right? Like where I don't have a day off and I'm talking and I start to lose my voice and I really have to shut my mouth and I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna go for a walk, whatever.
Mhm.
But the reality is the second I walk outside my apartment door, I'm talking.
Yeah.
There's clients that live in my building walking
You run into
outside
people
down
everywhere.
brick like it's a
Yeah.
it's a lost cause. So I'm
Yeah.
I'm really only recharging when I'm in my apartment.
Yeah. You mentioned that you shared about identity and purpose, turning mess into a message. Can you walk us through a moment where you had to build or redefine yourself?
Before I moved to Miami, obviously a relationship. It was long distance, but we were together for 2.5 years. I really thought I was going to move to New York to make things work. And I was really kind of at the point where I was almost begging to make things work.
Mhm,
And now in my life, right, I'll never beg anyone to be in my class, a part of my life, with me, anything, right?
mhm,
But that was part of coming down to Miami and redefining myself is learning to love myself again, learning to love being alone, learning to honestly just heal,
mhm.
um, and learning to fall in love with potentially dating again, but
Yeah,
not quite there yet.
yeah.
I think I was always defined by relationships, especially in Chicago, which people in Miami would probably never believe that I'm saying that, but I was always in long relationships when I lived in Chicago. I mean, between 4 years, 2.5 years, long distance, and now
So this is
nothing.
your full coming into like your full woman era, where then
Yeah.
you're gonna find somebody that matches your energy so well that it will take off. And I like that because I think every woman or every girl goes through that. They're consistently in relationships or they're in a relationship and then there's just one thing that sparks it or one thing that triggers it. And then from there, the trajectory changes forever in the best way possible. And then that's how you really develop yourself into the person that you want to be. You remember the things that you did wrong and also what you don't want someone else to do to you. You're learning on both ends. And then from there, it just takes off
Yeah.
that right energy.
I also think it's just an opportunity to grow
Mhm,
yourself as well as redefine yourself
mhm.
because I look back at my past relationships and it was like, you know, you date for a little bit, then you move in with one another, and then, we all
Yeah.
know the series of events that occur after
Yeah.
that. It's almost like you go through the motions because that's just what we were taught and that's what
Mhm.
we all see.
Yep.
But I think now I would do everything probably backwards from what I was ever taught.
Yeah.
And to know that I don't have to rush into any of those things.
Yeah. And it's not just
And
about like playing house, like
yeah,
this step, this step. Now you got to do this. Now you got to do that because it's all rushing. And that's where it all explodes because it was never supposed to be like that.
yeah. Like you want to enjoy somebody for what life is instead of what it could be. And I
Mhm.
think that's another thing too is seeing somebody or something for what it is, not what it could be. I'll always love to see the potential in people. And I think that that's also where I've gone wrong, but I've also learned, so I would
Yeah.
never rush into anything now. If I can't be happy with what it is now, then I'm not going to be happy living together with
No,
family, with, you know what I mean?
it only puts more pressure onto things. So, no, I agree with that. Outside of fitness, I know you cook a lot because I see it and I love all the things you cook, wanting you to be my meal prep person. But what hobbies do you gravitate towards that balances your high energy lifestyle?
I definitely love cooking. A lot of people don't really know this about me, maybe, but I went to school for fashion design, actually.
Whoa, wait, we need to break this down.
Yeah. So I went to school for fashion design. I designing fashion lines, drawing
Cool.
croquis, all the things. So obviously now I'm not doing that. I still love fashion, but very rarely am I getting dressed up. But when I do, obviously I take pride in that and
Mhm.
some of my outfits and some of my staples that I've accumulated through life, but I feel like when I cook or when I host events, even if it's not a fitness event, right? Even if it's just like a themed event, it fills my creative void. So people always, comment on my presentation and it's like I take pride in that because that was therapeutic for me.
I see that and now I get it.
Yeah. So that's my little creative hack coming out. Obviously, I love to be active. So whether that's a walk, one of the best things that came out of stepping out of my full-time role is the opportunity to actually spend time with some of the clients that have been with me from day one.
Mhm.
You know, it was hard to stay afloat doing it all for a very long time. So the time that I got to spend with them was showing up to class, pre-class, post-class before I'm on to the next, getting a matcha or going on a walk with
Mhm.
people that have really leaned into me and leaned on me for the past 2.5 years. So that's been very rewarding for me. Obviously, I'm always working on other things as well.
Yeah, you are.
But when I'm not teaching, I really am just laying low. I don't watch TV, so I can't say I binge watch anything.
Wait, that might be your serial killer trait. Everyone has a serial killer trait. Wait, at all? Like, so you don't, when was the last time you've been binge watched anything?
Couldn't tell you.
Wow, good for you. Damn. Okay. Keep going. Sorry, we scrolled there. Wow. Okay. Cool, cool.
I know that's probably like unexpected, but when you listen to music and talk all day
Mm,
long, there's nothing I love more than coming home to just silence. And even at the end of the day, too, I'm cooking and I'm catching up on phone calls that I missed while I was teaching, whatever. And I feel obviously obligated to because I want to get back to them,
mhm.
but trying to make use of my time because my mom and I always joke around, but like once I sit, it's over with. I'm not getting up. So if I
Yeah.
sit on the
Yeah.
couch,
Yeah.
I'm sleeping on the couch. Once I'm done
I
in the
get that.
kitchen,
Yeah.
I'm like in my pajamas,
Yes.
skincare on. I'm laying in bed and I'm
Yes.
not getting up.
I'm not going.
So,
Yeah. I relate to that so bad. Many fitness professionals face burnout at some point. Yes. What keeps you motivated when you're tired, stressed, or uninspired?
Amy and I always talked about this. I love Amy. She's
Yeah.
definitely one of my mentors, and hearing from her always makes my day.
Mm.
But
He really is the best.
being the most consistent thing in people's life is truly on the hardest of days what gets me there, right?
Hmm.
It doesn't really matter what's going on in our lives. Not that it doesn't matter, it does. But either way, we have to show up. And I always know, like, I'm never going to leave a class more upset, more burned out, mentally at least, right? Physically, yes, a little bit, but mentally, I'm never going to leave more burned out and I'm not going to leave unfulfilled. But I think burnout is absolutely real. And that's kind of where, saying no to things is okay.
Hmm.
Knowing your worth is absolutely okay. Putting a high ticket price on your value is okay. And enjoying rent is okay. That's my favorite hobby of all,
Yes.
like truly, that's kind of how I avoid the burnout, and for a while, I think people were like, "You're crazy, you go to bed at 9." I'm like, "I have to. I When you
Yeah.
get up at 4:30 in the morning, you have to. I
Yeah.
could not do it any other way."
You would literally mentally and physically shut down. Like it would
Right.
not, it's not like people don't get that. Like it's not physically possible to do what you do without having the appropriate sleep. Like sleep is literally everything.
Yeah.
And especially when you're teaching like heated classes on top of that. I mean, yeah, girl, go to bed. Go to bed at 7. Who
Yeah.
cares?
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean,
yeah.
definitely, I don't have any guilt about that as well, and, I never really have FOMO anymore. I don't think once you get to this point.
It's all the same and it's
Yeah.
always happening.
And I think too, like, that's also where you really know who is your friend and who
Mhm.
isn't your friend, right? Because if they can't understand why you can't come to something,
Mhm.
then they're not really your friend, right? And I think
Yeah.
until you live it, because a lot of my friends now, they live this with me every single day. And
Mhm.
they're like, oh my God, I went to 6 a.m. this week. I don't know how you do it. I'm falling asleep at 3 p.m. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I'd normally be getting ready to go teach my second set of classes now as well. So, it is a choice and
Mhm.
it's a choice that I'm willing to make, but it's also prioritizing myself. And yeah, but
Also,
also
too,
like
I
I
mean,
never want to let anyone else down either, like
yeah,
if I
there's a
didn't show up because I'm tired, what
yeah,
if somebody was relying on me and my class to get through their day?
absolutely. Yeah. But that shows how dedicated you are to your craft, but to your career. Again, people don't put two and two together that what you do is a career. It's not just a side thing that you do and then you go home and, or you have another job or you just don't work or whatever. Like this is your job. and you are teaching multiple classes. So you have to want to show up for other people, and you do. And so you're putting, yeah, I mean, and also too with partying and shit like that, like it's not that exciting. And it's like a 3 day hangover. You're sick on the day after, and then you're recuperating on the other day, and then it is rough out there. I mean, I rather literally stay in my sweats and drink a kombucha than go out and take a million shots and feel like death.
Truly. And especially with the heated classes now, it's like one and done.
Yeah, exactly.
Say I do have a drink at Moxie's, I'm like, all right, that's
Yeah,
it. I'm going
yeah.
home. Cause also too, like there's this persona that I've protected and energy and reputation and image of myself that I protected. And like I always obviously have this fear that I'm gonna like do something stupid, say something stupid.
Mm,
Obviously it's not gonna happen. It's not happened. But like I always am like thinking what could. And
hyper
I
aware.
think that's just human, even though
Yeah.
no one cares. But when you built something through love, through loss, through heartbreak, through blood, sweat, and tears, like you will do anything to protect that. So I'm
Wait,
like,
I love that so much. Like truly though, that you couldn't have said that any better. I'm obsessed with that. And it shows through with what you do. So be proud of
thank
yourself for
you.
that. What's a misconception people have about being a fitness instructor, wellness coach, that you wish you could change?
That we're always motivated,
Mm,
confident, put together.
mhm,
We're superhuman. We're
mhm,
not. I'm not. I wish I was. We definitely all have bad days, low energy weeks, our own insecurities, self doubt. But I think the difference is that we have to show up anyways. We hold space for others when they're navigating through a chapter, through a bad day, through their own stuff. At the end of the day, fitness instructors, myself included, we're humans first
mhm.
and we're leaders second,
That's wow. Okay, great. I love that. I have
period.
no notes. Like you answered that perfectly. Okay, we can move on. Next, if you could design, which I think that's amazing because the fact that you were in fashion school. So if you could design the ultimate fitness meets wellness and by the way, you don't have to give things that you're working on. No one's asking for that. But if you could design the ultimate fitness meets wellness project, what would it look like?
I mean, being that I've not left the country, which maybe that's another serial killer question too, but I've never left the country.
Okay, that's okay. We'll get you there. You.
I would love to hold retreats or just hold spaces. It doesn't even have to be outside of the country, honestly,
Mhm,
right? I would rather know where I'm taking a group of people, but
mhm,
hold space for those that have shown up for me, whether it was once or 1,000 times. That wasn't studio specific or venue specific, but it was like a wellness retreat where people walk in one version and walk out a different version or just an elevated version of
mhm,
themselves, but an opportunity to elevate their lifestyle, not just their workouts.
mhm,
Because I think obviously events and classes specifically is all about elevating, the workout and yourself. But
mhm.
how can we elevate our lifestyle since this obviously has become an entire lifestyle and
Yeah,
career for me? But how can we all build that lifestyle rather than just an hour?
I could see you doing it where it's a full blown retreat, but you could even bring in the cooking portion of things because you're so good with cooking. Take away all TVs. Like I could, I could see like you would really do well with that. And honestly, staying in the country is fine too because then you have more access for people to go and want to go. I mean, depending on how intimate you'd want it to be. Yeah, do it please because I'll go.
I know, right? That would be fun.
Yeah,
Especially because I get so many inquiries on recipes and stuff. And
yeah,
I like didn't mean to make it a thing, but like
yeah,
stupid simple recipes because they really are that stupid simple. But I don't think people realize it. And maybe it's just like my feed on social media is all either like workout stuff or like stupid simple, like really just inspire people that way. And maybe that's not their feed, but it's my feed and now they're getting it
yeah,
through my feed.
yeah.
But it doesn't have to be complicated. It really
No.
doesn't.
No. And I mean, there's some steaks that you make that I am drooling. Like the iron in me, I'm like, I need that. And I love your presentation too. I think that you should look into this. 2026 goal, please.
It would also just feel like a vacation from the life that we all live that's a little
Yeah.
bit different, and I think
Yeah.
people would love that. Now you got my wheels turning. This is why I stay inside because 'cause I'm always thinking about the next
You're
ideas.
inside right now. No, that's amazing. No, and I know it's like 5 o'clock. You got to go to bed soon. Sorry. We're going to end the episode doing rapid questions. Basically, it's just whatever comes to mind. They're really simple. Don't worry. Favorite Spotify playlist song to power you through a tough set? It could be,
Drake.
ooh, okay. You should do a whole, have you ever done a full Drake class? Well, we got this week. It's now or never. Love languages. What are your, okay, so what are your like, what, because there's 5 love languages. What are your top three? Because I always feel like you have to have like a top three or at least two. You can't just be one.
Words of affirmation,
Okay.
quality time,
And that's what you like to give or what you like to get.
what I like to get.
What do you like to give?
Gifts,
Yep.
acts of service.
Okay. Yeah. I'm definitely an acts of service person, but I love those two are my quality time and words of affirmation 100%. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, moving on. What's your go-to comfort food after a hardcore workout or after a long day teaching?
As much as I would like love to order whatever Uber Eats is trying to convince me I should order,
Hmm.
I also know that my body needs nutrients and protein. And I feel like maybe this is just me being over the top and another reason why this has become my lifestyle. But I care so much about like what I'm putting into my body now. And I think, especially in America, right? Everything is changing and it's
Hmm.
so important that like if I were to just order shitty food on Uber Eats, I would give myself a hangover from the shitty food without
Absolutely.
the alcohol.
Yep.
So as much as I want to like binge eat certain things, I really try and nurture my body to be able to do it the next day.
Hmm.
One of my favorite things to make. I'm hyper fixated on these Greek meatballs that I've been making. They're stupid
Ooh.
simple. I
Wait,
love a
you need to
spaghetti.
make a book called Stupid Simple.
I know.
Keep going.
I love spaghetti squash, which is like so stupid simple, but people would rather like eat pasta. And I honestly think spaghetti squash tastes better.
I like
And I'm not
spaghetti squash.
saying don't eat your pasta, but
Yeah.
it
I like
makes me
spaghetti squash if
sleepy.
it's, I never say it right. Is it al dente? What's it called? Al
Al
dente?
dente.
Al
Al
dente.
dente.
Al dente. Sounds like Drake's nickname. That's like a new song he's gonna come out with. Like yeah, spaghetti squash, if it's like that has a bit of a crisp to it, but it's still, soft enough with some sauce and like a meatball, I'm here for it. Absolutely. That's your thing. Okay, I need to know your Greek meatballs, please. Thanks.
Gotcha.
Thanks.
I'll post the recipe when I take them out of the oven onto this.
Yes. Perfect. Oh, you're
They're
cooking them
still
right
in the oven.
now. Okay, last one. What piece of advice for someone who wants to move to Miami and pursue fitness full time? What would you tell them?
Do it.
Mm,
Literally dive headfirst into it. Like, what's the worst thing that could happen? I say that in class. I say that in any conversation is it's okay to fail. What's the worst thing that happened? Okay, you don't get a job.
yeah,
You'll figure it out. There's so many
exactly.
opportunities out there, but just figure out like what your niche is. And I think that goes for anything, whether it's fitness related or not. Because obviously I have girlfriends that are embarking on their fitness journey, but they've been here in Miami, right?
Hmm.
But because fitness and wellness is so big now, specifically in Miami, but pretty much everywhere now, is what is your niche? What are you going to do that's going to be different than anybody else? And that doesn't necessarily have to be the way that you teach or what you teach, but like who you are. What are you going to live, eat, breathe, sleep that you're very passionate about outside of
Hmm.
just showing up to teach your class? And what real impact can you have on somebody else?
No, that's so well said. And I think anyone would take that advice because it's so true. And like you said, just do it. What's the worst that can happen?
I know it sounds so cliche, but really it stupid simple.
Yeah,
Stupid
exactly.
simple.
What is your most favorite and least favorite movement, exercise movement? I just thought of that. And then, I can let you get back to your meatballs.
My favorite movement, I love a bear plank series. I love anything hovering
Yes,
tabletop,
you
which
do.
you know.
It's a bitch
Um,
sometimes too.
I know, but they're so good
You
because
know when
it
I'm
forces
sore?
you.
It's like, fuck, here we go.
Right? Because it forces you to not only balance, but it also tests your strength. I think
Mhm,
exercises that really embody multiple pillars of fitness is
mhm,
obviously what I love about exercises and the way that I teach.
mhm.
That's maybe a little bit different than others is, I'm going to potentially give you things that you've never done before. I'm going to test your balance,
Yep.
your strength, your core, because that's the foundation of anything that we do
Mhm.
fitness studio, outside of a fitness studio in life. My least favorite move. I don't know that I have a least favorite move. Like I'm
I mean,
willing
for
to at
me, it'd be like just
least
like a basic squat, like
anything basic. Yeah, I
boring. Yeah,
guess
yeah, yeah.
anything that's boring. But I'm
Yeah.
also like want to like zhuzh it up. Of course, I want to say a burpee, but there's ways to love burpees as well. Like I love a reverse burpee more than a regular burpee.
Please. Yes. I love reverse burpees. And because obviously as like an endurance athlete, and running, like reverse burpees are ideal for me. So, but there's sometimes where I feel like there's a difference between sometimes when I want to modify and do high knees when you're asking us to do burpees or something, just because obviously my wrists and all, but there's another thing where then you're like throwing yourself back and doing a reverse burpee whenever you know what I mean? Like there's a time
Right.
and a place.
Yeah. 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 For sure.
Yeah. I love a good reverse burpee. Can we do it this week, please?
Of course. I
Thank
got to
you.
do my lesson plans this week. That's another thing. I don't know where this can fit in, but I do spend a significant amount of my free time creating new sequences for every single week, every single playlist.
Yeah.
I really try and live my life day by day. And I know that's, again, another stupid, simple hack. But when I think about everything that's ahead, I get super overwhelmed. And part of being a woman, right, is keeping our cortisol levels low.
Mm.
And
Hope I'm
I'm really
drinking coffee.
learning to do, oh, I don't drink coffee. Maybe that's another serial killer.
No, you're
Doing a
just
lot of,
literally an angel.
well, I do have a Celsius a day.
Okay,
I
now we're
know,
on the
I
now
know,
we're on the
I
same
know,
wavelength.
I
Okay.
know. But I really try and take day by day, class by class, because if I try and think about a whole week's worth of classes ahead, I'm just going to shut down and be way too overwhelmed to tackle any of it.
Mhm.
But Sunday night, so tonight I'll do my sequences for tomorrow and Tuesday. And then Tuesday, the way that my schedule is set up, I don't have to get up at 4:30 on Tuesdays, so I don't need to take a midday nap. So then Tuesday afternoons, I'll usually plan for the rest of the week. And Friday nights, I usually plan for Saturday's classes.
That makes sense. And I know we've talked about your naps before because I've asked you before. I love that you prioritize your naps.
Yeah, I mean, I never was a napper before. I can't tell you the last time took a nap before I stepped down, but now, yeah, I live, eat, breathe for my 20, 30-minute max naps
Oh
because
yeah.
anything over that is way counter.
Yeah. No, like a 20-minute nap, especially with what you do, like you come back better than ever. I love
But
that.
yeah, these are all my lesson plans. I literally had to start a second book, filled one already, but this is just from like the last couple
I love
of
that.
weeks.
It's just
So
and it's so cool to be able to look back and see everything and then maybe like your progression of how you've, transformed in your teaching or the style. But then also too, it's kind of nice to always go back and maybe grab one that you forgot about. You're like, oh shit, wait, that's really good. But like let me tweak it a little.
I know. I thought about that, or I was doing that the other day, and then I was trying to figure out what the exercise was. Cause, like
Yeah.
in the moment, you're writing it, you're like, okay, that makes sense. And then I like
In the way
usually
you
do it
word it,
right.
you're like rainbow to reverse to
Right.
squat
My
hop.
neighbors probably see me like practicing these exercises in my living
Yes.
room. And when it's dark outside, are like, what's going on?
And
But
you're like,
then
what
I'm
was I
like,
writing?
what was I writing then?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make any sense. But
Yeah.
then, I obviously look to social media for inspiration and then
Mhm.
kind of switch it up a little bit, but it takes a bit of time.
Yeah.
I think it's so old school of me, but I still do write them all out.
No, I think
In
that's healthy. I like that.
high school and college, I was the same way. I was never a
Yeah.
studier. The way that I would study would be to
Right.
write write
Yeah.
it out.
I'm
So,
the same. It's a visual thing too. And you
yeah.
might not always have to look at the book, but because you wrote it down, you remember it. But also it's the idea of you being, again, you're a planner. So you have that all there. And regardless if you go look at it or not, it's that organization part of it.
Yep.
Do
Yep.
you, and then I'll let you get your meatballs this time. I promise you we're done. You uh, plan your routines and then do you implement music with it, or do you just decide on your playlist based on what you're feeling, maybe if someone asks for a request, or is it kind of just going with the flow?
Every class is different because my sculpt classes at Core Power are beat. I teach to the beat.
Okay,
So that's a whole
that's not,
different,
yeah, for the week.
yeah. So that's a whole different beast. Usually for my classes, especially because I am only there twice a week, I'll keep a playlist for a month. And if like I find a new song throughout like other playlist making, I'll just kind of plug and chug and whatever. But I think that's what people also started to like really love about my classes is they knew what's next. I'll plug and chug and tweak, but there's still some consistency, which obviously we're all creatures of consistency.
Hmm.
But then for my Studio 3 classes, usually it's like a progression, right? It starts off slow. I know about at that 30-minute mark, we need like an old school throwback banger
That's my
to
jam.
get everyone back in, and then
Yeah.
slowly bring it down, but it's not beat driven. And then solid core, it really is not at all beat driven and just kind of like whatever I'm feeling. Obviously, solid core is the place where I kind of get to replay some of my playlists because those people are not necessarily the ones that are taking my Studio 3 and my Core Power classes. So they
Mhm.
have no idea what playlists I've already listened to 4 times today.
How many classes do you teach a week, not including your community events?
18.
Jesus, good for you. I love that. You're a powerhouse.
Yep.
Well, that
And
we're
then
gonna end on
sometimes
that note.
Saturdays and Sundays. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time. Truly, I mean,
Thank you.
it is an honor because, like I said, I know that you're so busy and you're also very rigid with the schedule. So I truly appreciate you taking the time just to, chat with me and go over some things that, I've learned about you. But also, I feel like the listeners will genuinely love about you because you're just so raw and real. And I love that.
Why I'm here, like I would only do it for you, of
Mm,
course.
thanks.
And I'm so grateful for our relationship as well and you showing up for me and however I can show up for you. But I think too, the world can get a little taste of maybe some things they didn't know about me
Yeah,
as well.
absolutely.
So
No, and just to see that you are a real human being, right?
I am.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you. And that's that.
Thank you.